WNBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York Liberty. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way.
Here's a mind-blowing stat for you. Caitlin Clark boosted WNBA viewership by 142% in 2024. That's insane, right? Now imagine this same superstar player, who single-handedly brought in thousands of new fans, struggling to make ends meet on a $70,000 salary. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. But wait, it gets crazier. European leagues are offering up to $500,000 per season. That's over 7 times what Clark was making in the WNBA. No wonder she leaked that footage of her playing in Europe. Stick around, because we're about to break down why the salary gap could change women's basketball forever. Let's talk about the WNBA's $70,000 mistake. You know what's wild? Caitlin Clark, the biggest star in women's basketball.
She's the first rookie to win WNBA Player of the Month since the award's inception in 2010, and last night it was no exception. They were sky high for Caitlin Clark and the Fever, but to start the season, they had a little bit of a rough go of it. They lost their first 5 games. They ended up 1-8 through their first 9 games, and during that first month, the playoffs, they didn't feel realistic at all. Indy entered the Olympic break 11-15 on the year, and then they really turned it around. They've won 7 of their 8 since. They clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, which, by the way, was the last year of Hall of Famer and franchise icon Tamika Catchings.
Was making just $70,000 in the WNBA. That's less than some entry-level jobs right out of college. Can you imagine being the face of a professional sports league and struggling to pay rent? But here's where it gets crazy. The WNBA thought they could get away with paying their golden goose peanuts. They saw Clark's talent, her marketability, her ability to draw crowds, and they still decided to lowball her. It's like they were living in a different reality. Clark wasn't just good for the league, she was a game changer. Ticket sales? Through the roof. Merchandise? Flying off the shelves. TV ratings? Skyrocketing. She was bringing in millions for the WNBA, and they were paying her like she was just another rookie. Now imagine being in Clark's shoes. You're dominating games, filling arenas, and your face is plastered all over billboards. Fans are chanting your name, little girls are wearing your jersey, and you're the talk of the sports world. But when you look at your bank account, it's barely growing. The tension was building. Every game Clark played, every record she broke, every fan she inspired, it all just highlighted the massive gap between her value and her paycheck. How long could this go on? How long before Clark decided enough was enough? And here's where it gets wild. While the WNBA was pinching pennies, European teams were watching. And boy, did they see dollar signs. They saw a superstar being undervalued, and they were ready to pounce. These European teams weren't messing around. They came in with offers that would make your jaw drop. We're talking up to $500,000 per season. That's over 7 times what Clark was making in the WNBA. 7 times. For doing the same thing she was already doing, playing basketball and drawing crowds. 7 times the salary sounds great, but that's not even the craziest part.
She has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For us, just in the women's side of things, and the height that she had, the expectations she had.
Let's start with the rookie, Caitlin Clark Kent. Superwoman, you see what I did there? She was on a tear, and last night was no different. Wings, fever. Caitlin Clark set to go as she broke the single-season assist record.
She's been playing like a top 5 player in the league. She's been regularly dishing out double-digit assists in that time frame. Teams can no longer blitz her and trap her.
What if I told you Clark's now living a basketball fairy tale in Europe? No more commercial flights or cheap shots from opponents. Instead, she's got private jets, royal treatment, and a whole continent of new fans. The question is, will she ever want to come back? Picture this. Caitlin Clark steps off a private jet in Madrid, designer sunglasses on, looking like $1 million. Actually, make that $500,000, because that's what she's making per season now. Gone are the days of cramped economy seats and lost luggage. This is first class all the way, baby. But here's the thing. It's not just about the fancy flights and fat checks. European basketball is offering Clark something even more valuable: respect. You know how in the WNBA, players sometimes get knocked around like pinballs? Not anymore. In Europe, Clark's treated like the superstar she is. No more cheap shots, no more dirty plays. She's free to just ball out and show the world what she can really do. And the fans? Oh man, they're on another level. We're talking sold-out arenas every single game. Imagine thousands of people chanting, "Caitlin, Caitlin." It's like a rock concert, but instead of a guitar, Clark's got a basketball. Little girls are showing up in her jersey, grown men are asking for autographs. It's absolute madness. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about Clark anymore. Other WNBA stars are watching all this go down, and you can bet they're taking notes. They're seeing Clark living her best life.
Caitlin Clark became the first ever rookie in WNBA history to record a triple-double twice in the same season. In that game, Clark scored her 103-point shot this season, becoming just the 6th woman. My WNBA Player of the Week, surprise, surprise, Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. There's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for League MVP honors.
Making bank and being treated like basketball royalty. And they're starting to wonder, hey, why can't that be me? It's like the floodgates are opening. Europe isn't just taking Clark, it's coming for the whole league. You've got team owners in Spain, Italy, and Turkey licking their chops, ready to snatch up the next big WNBA star. They're offering big money, sure, but also something the WNBA has struggled with: a platform where women's basketball is the main event, not a sideshow. Here's the kicker. While Europe's celebrating their new basketball queen, the WNBA's castle is crumbling. Remember when they thought they were untouchable? Those days are over, and you won't believe how fast it all fell apart. The WNBA's in panic mode. Clark's move to Europe isn't just a loss, it's a full-blown disaster for the league. Imagine this. The new season kicks off, but the stands are half empty. TV ratings plummeting faster than a brick, and those big-name sponsors that used to fight for ad space, they're jumping ship like it's the Titanic. You know what's wild? Without Clark, the WNBA's basically turned into a glorified scrimmage league that no one cares about. Ouch, right? But it gets worse. Remember all those viral moments that used to light up social media? Gone. The league's online presence is drying up faster than a puddle in the Sahara. And here's where it gets really scary for the WNBA. This is just the beginning. Clark's not the only one eyeing those European contracts.
Came out a few weeks ago that said Caitlin Clark received 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlin Clark League. And that's what a lot of players and coaches said about Caitlin Clark and about the rookie class coming into the league, is that that was going to be something that they would need to adjust to. They would need to adjust to the physicality of this league. So there have been cheap shots, there have been hard fouls, there have been other plays that haven't even been called flagrant fouls. But when you have the face of your league getting nearly 20% of all flagrant fouls called against her, that is an issue.
Other stars are watching and they're doing the math. Why settle for peanuts when you could be living large overseas? Take Gabby Williams, for example. She's out here talking about how WNBA players can barely make ends meet. Meanwhile, her European teammates are living it up, focusing on nothing but basketball. You think other players aren't listening to that? The league's scrambling to stop the bleeding, but it might be too late. They're talking about charter flights, bigger contracts, better treatment. But after years of pinching pennies, it's like trying to plug a dam with bubble gum. And let's talk about those big brands like Nike and Adidas. They poured tons of cash into marketing Caitlin Clark. Now that she's gone, they're probably rethinking those WNBA sponsorships faster than you can say, airball. Forget airball. We're talking about a full-court shot that's changing the game. Remember when everyone thought the WNBA was the only show in town? Well, Clark just flipped the script, and now we're all wondering, is Europe about to become the new heart of women's basketball? Let's break it down. Clark's move isn't just about her getting a bigger paycheck, she's reshaping the entire sport. Think about it. Better pay, better treatment, and fans who actually appreciate the game. It's like she's unlocked a whole new level of women's basketball that we didn't even know existed.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever had over 1.8 million viewers. This is now on an NFL Sunday. They had over 1.8 million viewers, and the rest of the games had around 400,000 viewers. These people are coming in waves to watch one player who has sold out every single arena that she has played in this season. Well, I have not seen the viewership reports for the games last night yet, but I'm sure that it is probably double of what the Indiana Fever game got on Sunday.
In Europe, Clark's not just a player, she's a superstar. We're talking sold-out arenas, fans screaming her name, and little girls dreaming of following in her footsteps. It's the kind of atmosphere every athlete dreams of. And you know what? Other players are taking notice. But hold up, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for European basketball. The WNBA's still got some fight left in them. They're not about to let their stars go without a fight. We're hearing rumors of charter flights, bigger contracts, maybe even a total overhaul of how they treat their players. It's like they're finally waking up and realizing what they've been missing. Here's where it gets really interesting. European leagues aren't just sitting back and enjoying their Clark-shaped victory. They're going all in. We're talking major investments, new training facilities, marketing campaigns that would make Hollywood jealous. They're not just trying to be as good as the WNBA, they want to be better. And you know what? It might be working. More and more players are starting to look at Europe and think, hey, that could be me. It's not just about the money anymore. It's about respect, about being valued, about playing in front of fans who live and breathe women's basketball. We're watching a seismic shift in the sport, and Clark's right at the center of it all. She's not just changing her career, she's changing the game for every woman who picks up a basketball.
The hottest team in the WNBA right now is the Indiana Fever. Kelsey Mitchell has been balling. Lexi Hall has been an X factor, and that was a great chess move, just getting this lineup with chemistry. As for this win streak, though, Caitlin has created 224 points between points scored herself and points assisted. That's almost 45 points per game, and the most by any player ever during a 5-game win.
The battle for the soul of women's basketball is heating up, and nobody knows how it's going to end. All right, let's wrap this up. Caitlin Clark didn't just switch teams, she flipped the whole game on its head. She took a $70,000 salary and turned it into a $500,000 European dream. Now the WNBA is sweating bullets, wondering if they can keep their stars or if they'll lose them to the glitz and glamour across the pond. You know what's wild? This isn't just about Clark anymore. It's about every little girl picking up a basketball, dreaming of making it big. The WNBA's got to step up or risk becoming old news. One thing's for sure. Women's basketball is changing fast and Clark's leading the charge. The next few years, they're gonna be insane. Buckle up, folks. This ride's just getting started.